Candy, just like Candace, I can see you when you walk. Y'all thought that she was going away. She said she's seen all of the shots that y'all was taking at her. Club Shay Shay, Amanda Seals, all of the people that's out here completely irrelevant. Candace, I don't like that. All right, looks like we're going to do this the old-fashioned way, ladies and gentlemen.
Stocks. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are finally back. Yes, I am genuinely so excited. I can't even tell you guys how excited the entire world is listening. I kind of am just like, hey, oh my gosh, did you see this? This is crazy. I just read this crazy book. Oh my gosh, what does this mean about our government? It's corrupt. It's like talking to my family on the phone. And then we kind of sort of find out that the entire world is listening when all of these hit pieces are being written about me. And I'm like, oh, we're basically being spied on. Why is somebody listening to our private conversations? So yeah, when I found out really kind of sort of definitely with the rest of the world that my show had been rather unceremoniously canceled, it was upsetting. It sort of felt like you're talking on those old school cord phones late into the night and like your parents are sleeping and then you think they're sleeping. And then suddenly your mom picks up and she's like, yeah, this conversation is ending right now and you're grounded for 2 weeks. It's over. Deeply, deeply upsetting.
Can you imagine? Now remember, guys, that I personally, see, I'm going to bring myself to the front of the congregation. I actually had a deep level of respect for Ben Shapiro when I first really started discovering Ben Shapiro, largely because Ben Shapiro was supposed to be a great debater and a person that is objectively conservative, meaning that he removes his feelings and his personal convictions out of the equation in order to make a decision or to determine whether or not we're going in this particular direction, until it started hitting them where it hurts. And it's the same thing that it comes to black people. Let me tell you something, bro. No matter what it is that you say, no matter how it is that you say it, everybody is the same. Some of us just have completely different circumstances that brings it out differently. So, for example, when you take somebody like a Ben Shapiro, ultimately, he got into his feelings. He got into his feelings in order to make a decision to ultimately axe Candace Owens based off of the fact that she started having conversations, not convictions, not racist, not anti-Semitic, conversations holding people accountable that were Jewish. That's what it came down to. Had nothing to do with her performance, had nothing to do with her numbers, had nothing to do with her perspective towards Trump or conservatism, being a conservative or anything like that. They asked her ultimately because she had a perspective towards somebody in the Jewish community. And how is that any different from black people or white people? As a matter of fact, I would even give white people a lot of credit right now, because white people have been trying to get into the good graces of black people for so long that they was willing to overwhelmingly march during Black Lives Matters at a time that we know was a Marxist organization. They was willing to put their lives on the line in order to march for black people, in order to try to get in our good graces. White people is so funny to me. White people are the most hilarious group of people that I've ever seen in my life. Instead of them standing on the fact that they won, y'all won, at least over in this country. You won. Listen, the people of today are so soft. The people of white people of yesteryear, they was giving up chicken pox. They was wiping out the whole country. They was taking over. They was having the Indians teach them how to farm and then going there and moving them over into desolate land and saying, yeah, you can have that land. We're going to annex you over there. We just don't feel like having no more war and having no more people, no casualties on our side. And we're going to bring these black people over here and we're going to make sure that we take care of business on that front too. The ancestors, the white people of old, these new white people, these new Caucasians, y'all let Umar Johnson talk about y'all. Y'all let Malcolm X talk about y'all. Y'all let these people come in with size 12 shoes and tell winners how it is that they're supposed to be redistributing wealth over to the losers. And when I say the losers, I'm talking about the people that were colonized, the people whose land was taken over. They went over here and came in with size 12 shoes, took their women, took their money, took their land, took their resources, said that we're going to rebrand this whole country. This is the United States of the Americas. And then they children came in and said, oh my God, oh God, we got to make sure that we acquiesce over Black Lives Matters. What kind of winners are y'all? This is a different type of generation. And so when you see this type of thing happen, you know what I'm saying? Because they were the ultimate capitalists. When you see these type of things happen, it gives me pause because I'm always trying to figure out, where did they learn this from? They certainly didn't learn it from their ancestors because their ancestors was about midnight. Calvin Candy, Candyland. Because Calvin Candy was going to make you shake his hand after he beat you. You know what I'm saying? Was going to make you shake his hand after he beat you. Now we got these people all in their emotions. Candace Owens is more stoic and not in her emotions and being able to make a decision than Ben Shapiro. Who would have ever thunk it? Who would have ever thunk it? Unreal.
And I think also something that was strange is that when most people leave their jobs, they just sort of leave their jobs. It doesn't really become this global news story where everybody feels like they have to comment. Yeah, a worldwide Twitter trend for an entire week. Crazy. And I want to say this. I genuinely, my entire life, I believe that you should always aim to split amicably, whether that's in a relationship, whether you're in the midst of a divorce, which I hope never happens, or whether it's just leaving a job. I mean, why?
Let me tell you how ignorant these people are, like some of the people in the chat. Y'all completely missed the entire point of what it is that I just said. You missed the entire point. You idiot. You dummies. You dummies. You idiots inside of the chat missed the entire point of what it is that I just communicated to you. I'm communicating to you a mindset that it takes in order for you to be successful in whatever it is that you're doing, including winning. The mindset that you have to operate purely as a monster and in your masculinity with no reserve and no regard for human life in order to win. It's a mindset that forces you or allows for you to be able to colonize because you basically got to be a monster. You got to be a terrorist in order to take over and do certain things. And then translating that into today, that the people are so soft and their ultimate ancestors or the people that came, their offspring is so soft that they're willing to acquiesce over to the thing that you sacrifice for. You sacrifice your morals, your character, your compass in order to do something. And then everybody is so soft that they now living in their femininity and they can't even make a decision based off of what's best for themselves or what's best for their family. But you so caught up in the whole blackety black that you miss it. You miss the forest because you can't see past the trees. You're an idiot. You're an idiot. You're a dummy. Instead of you learning and understanding from the mistakes of the people of the past, you sit there and you try to ignore history in order to make yourself feel better. You soft. You just like them. You just like the people that's marching today. You soft. Listen, before we get into this Candace things, you ain't never gonna get no reparations. You know why? Because you soft. And whenever you got to beg somebody for something, you ain't never getting nothing because you unwilling to sacrifice in a way that they were in order to take over. Listen, they going to give you crumbs. They going to give you crumbs from Longshank's table. They going to give you $25,000 here, $5,000 there. Let me go ahead and forgive your student loans. Here's some social services. You ain't never got to worry about getting no reparations. You know why? Because you weak. And the only thing you ever gonna do is violence and crime against the people that look like you, not the people that actually took it from you. You weak, you a sucker. You asking and you begging somebody to give you something and you the loser. You ain't never gotta worry about it. I see you soft inside of the chat. Candace Owens got more balls than you do. You not listening to the message to better understand exactly how they was able to move in order to be able to take over this country in the first place.
Why else would we put years in anywhere if you did not want that relationship to end amicably? That should always be the aim. I want you to know that. Wherever you are going, don't put in years somewhere and then have it be a messy split. And quite frankly, I also think it's the right thing professionally not to speak about why you are splitting or what's happened. But I was shocked, very shocked, and I'm sure you were shocked as well, when no sooner was the split announced than Andrew Klavan just was like, hey, it's me. I pick myself. I'm going to be her crazy ex-boyfriend. Just like a bizarre tour he went on. He felt like it was his duty, or maybe somebody knighted him and said, you know what, Andrew Klavan, this is your duty to go around and to just smear Candace Owens. Say whatever it is that you want about her. And there's a piece of this that everybody's missing, and I do want to talk about that. I think Lauren Chen really summed it up, or at least pointed to it on Twitter. She sort of said, you know, what's really missing in all of these conversations with Andrew Klavan is, are you guys recognizing that he's basically saying she was really nice to him? That there was nothing that she did from a personality perspective. Yeah, that is kind of the big part that I think a lot of people are missing. Lauren Chen is correct. I was nothing but kind and nice and warm to Andrew Klavan for years. I had what I would describe as a very good working relationship with him, as I do with everybody. It's important to me to always represent myself professionally, also to always be nice and check in on people's lives. And just a few weeks before this, Andrew Klavan was sitting across from me on backstage asking about my kids.
I think that these dudes are weak. They absolutely weak, because they went on an entire tirade trying to make sure that they disparaged their character, and then tried to have a conversation about what her situation was with the Daily Wire when they didn't even realize that she was the Daily Wire. Candace Owens was the most, in my opinion, the most intelligent and the star of what was happening over at the Daily Wire. I didn't even realize it until my dog, ABJ, was telling me inside of the chat yesterday that, because I was like, man, Candace Owens still got her channel or whatever, and if I'm looking at all of the stuff, it looked like they actually owned her other channel. So the Candace Owens podcast, or whatever it was originally called, they owned that. That was their thing. Now, and thankfully, she was building up her own self in addition to whatever it was that she was building over there at the Daily Wire. Now she has the platform and the ability to continue to rock out. And what she's now realizing is something that a lot of us entrepreneurs, or the people that's the real talent that also has business acumen, realizing. I think that Candace Owens getting fired is probably the best thing to ever happen to her. The best thing to ever happen to Candace Owens, sometimes for a lot of us, is to get fired. Because it then frees you. It forces your hand to do something that you otherwise would not have done, because you had got too comfortable being in a space to where you was just being successful. Some of us, not all of us, let's be clear. This ain't for some, this ain't for all of y'all. Some of us are more talented and have a bigger purpose than whatever it was that we was doing. At a time, it made sense for us. You go out there, you get that job, or you go over here and you sign over to this network, or you get some visibility as a result of this. That's dope. It makes sense. It was the right move from a business perspective, and you can leverage it to get more visibility. It kind of reminds me of Shannon Sharpe over at Fox Sports. It was like, what we'd have ever really known how great Shannon Sharpe was, that he wound up becoming, had he not ever went over to Fox Sports, got discovered by Skip, wound up getting a contract, and then ultimately getting fired by Fox over there. What we have Shannon Sharpe today, in all of his glory and all of his greatness, or would he still have been the Shannon Sharpe of yesteryear based off of the restrictions or the fact that he had outgrew? And it's not always a thing that you have a problem with. Sometimes you just growing and you outgrow whatever it is that you at. And so you move over into the next thing. It's similar to having a job and things like that, right? And so I'm always an advocate for people that I believe is more talented than an advisor, or they become greater than their environment. And now it's time for them to be able to break off. That apparently they still own the other channel. They still profiting from all of the videos that she made at the Daily Wire, and that's a business decision. But here's the thing. I was looking at her videos and I was looking at what the numbers that she was doing. This video premiered 2 days ago and it's already at 845,000 views. And people were calling for her demise. People were saying that, see, she got fired. See what she's doing now. If you go over to her channel, and she got a preview of what she got coming on for the Ye and Candace podcast episode. And the preview, 5-minute preview, already got 29,000 views. Just dropped the video 16 hours ago, got 368,000 views. She don't even have her channel put together all of the way. And she's bigger than she's ever been based off of the fact that she has a core audience of people that truly rocks with whatever it is that she got going on. I think that this is the best move for her. The best thing that could have ever happened to Candace Owens is getting fired from the Daily Wire, because then that freed her to be able to do what she's truly meant to do, which is speak her mind without any kind of restrictions from any oversight from the people that's trying to profit off of whatever it is that she got going on. And again, I think that it was a good business decision at the time. I think that she benefited from it. But Candace Owens is much more than what the Daily Wire can give her. I'm not even sure if people are still checking for the Daily Wire in the same way that they was. And I'm not saying that anything's going to happen to the Daily Wire, but I think that they'll be just fine. But at the same time, I think that Candace Owens was meant to really break out and do something even bigger than what she was a part of. So shout out to Candace Owens. That's currently what's happening over in her neck of the woods. They tried to prevent me from being able to review the video. I said, no,